Hey guys, how's it going? It's Calvin Raab, and I'm excited to make this video because I've spent a lot of time studying this topic as a whole. So last year, my last semester of my sophomore year, I studied something called the reputation economy, which I'll talk a little bit more into this video. But my final paper, my final kind of research paper that I wrote about this that kind of summed up all my research was that you need a personal brand, and you need it looking at the economic world not only that we live in, but the economic world that we're walking into. A personal brand is something that I think that everyone needs. You know, it isn't just for famous people or celebrities or kind of business as a whole. I think everyone needs a personal brand. And in this video, I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into that and talk about a couple key things that you need to know about a personal brand. So first of all, we need to talk about what is a personal brand. You know, before we do anything, I'm gonna explain what a personal brand is. Then I'm gonna go over why I think you need it, why I think you should start your own kind of personal brand and kind of what that looks like. And then we're gonna finish that off by talking about how you can do it. You know, what are some actions you can take in order to get started on this whole starting your personal brand thing. So let's get into it. I spent a semester studying this, so I'm very passionate about it, and I'm just excited to make a video about it. I like when my videos kind of cross what I'm learning at school and studying, and I think that's just pretty cool. So I'm excited to share what I've kind of learned here. So let's get into it and let's talk all about starting a personal brand for yourself. And if you're new here, my name's Calvin Raab. I make videos all about personal finance. So if you're interested in anything like that, I would love it if you would subscribe. All right, so let's get started. Let's start off by talking about what is a personal brand. You know, we gotta know that before we can jump into anything else. So when I say personal brand, what do you think of? Well, had you asked me this question, I would answer, well, Cristiano Ronaldo is a personal brand. Rihanna is a brand. Donald Trump, even before he got elected president, is a brand. And same with LeBron James and different things like that. So those are all personal brands. But now I want to talk about how you can be your own personal brand. So that's it at a very big, large scale. But you can now narrow it down to a personal brand for yourself. So according to Wikipedia, a personal brand is the practice of marketing people and their careers as brands. And what you can see from that definition is that it doesn't say that you have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be famous to have your own personal brand. It's kind of a misconception. No, anyone can have their own personal brand. And the way you can kind of start is just by now thinking yourself as a brand. Think of yourself as a business. Treat your name like a business entity. And everything you kind of do, remember that it is for a specific brand, for a specific business. So why do you need to do this? Why should you think of yourself like a personal brand and not just any other just normal person with a normal resume? Why do you have to be a brand? Well, there's multiple reasons for that. First part, as I kind of touched on a little bit earlier, is the reputation economy. Now, the reputation economy is this kind of economic principle that sounds kind of cool, but it is pretty simple. And all it is that in the future, all that's going to matter is your personal reputation. And this is an argument that has been taken by a lot of well-known economists. And they're arguing that in the future, it is a brand's reputation that is going to be ultimately the most important thing. You know, people aren't going to care so much about quality so much, they're going to care about the brand itself. And I can kind of see this in my day-to-day. You know, just the other day, I bought some of LeBron James's basketball shoes. And I just really enjoy playing basketball, and I bought some of the shoes. And I didn't so much buy them because I thought they were great shoes. I know they are, but part of the reason I bought them is because they're LeBron's. You know, he is his own brand, and I'm buying part of that brand. I'm buying into his brand. And that's kind of something that we're going to see more and more. Brands are playing a bigger deal. It's not going to be so much the quality of the shoe. And if you watch any of Ronaldo's and Nike's cleat commercial, you see that they don't so much talk about the cleats themselves. No, they talk about Ronaldo. Ronaldo's in the commercial. They don't talk about what the boots or what the cleats are made of. They talk about in kind of Ronaldo as a brand, and they're selling Ronaldo. They're not selling the shoe. And it's kind of an interesting economic principle to talk about. Once you kind of see it, you start to see it everywhere in commercials. And this is why celebrity endorsements are so popular. And part of the reason is because of the reputation economy. So you're going to be seeing a lot more celebrity endorsements in the future. Another reason a personal brand is helpful is because it helps you market yourself more. If you have a personal brand, you stand out from others. So for me, YouTube is part of my own personal brand. I think of my name, Calvin Raab, as a brand, and YouTube is a big part of that. And when I apply to jobs and people see that I have this kind of brand behind me of financial videos and different things like that, it helps me stand out. In almost every interview I've done for a job, a large part of that interview is talking about my YouTube channel. And you'll start to see that. If you have a brand, they're going to be talking a lot about the brand specifically, and helps you to market yourself a little more and be a little more official, and helps you to remember you more. You're more than now just a resume. You are now a brand, and people are moving jobs a lot more, so you're going to want to have a brand that follows you, and things are just getting more and more competitive. And also an important point is that in the future, this is something that a lot of people, and I've read a lot of papers on this, and that the future is going to look a lot more like freelancing and entrepreneurship. A lot of people are going to become their own boss in the future. And we're starting to see this now with kind of the globalization of the internet. There are a lot more people now working for themselves. And in the future, that will continue. A lot more people will be working remote, and the internet is opening up all these different opportunities. But because people are going to be working and much more self-employed in the future, kind of entrepreneurship is the future, you want to have your own personal brand. You want your brand to be the entrepreneur, and you want people to see the brand. And it's just kind of an interesting thing to talk about. There's so much more. I feel like I'm not doing justice to each of these, but they're so important to know, and I've really enjoyed studying them. But that just goes to show a few reasons to why you should have a personal brand. But now I want to jump into probably the point that you've been looking for and why you're kind of here. And this is all about how can you do this? Okay. So you see the reputation economy, you see what the future's kind of looking like, and you believe me. You believe that you do need your own personal brand. So how can you do it? Let's talk about that for a little bit. The first thing you need to know when doing this is that you don't have to go off and create some clothing company. I talked about LeBron and Ronaldo. You don't have to go and create some shoes or anything like that in order to be a personal brand. That is something that I just think modern culture, when we think of brand, we instantly think of like a clothing brand or something along those lines. But remember the definition of a personal brand. It's just to market yourself like a business. So do that. The first thing you need to do is think of yourself like a business. So one thing that I always recommend people do is they create a website. So start a website for your personal brand, or in this case, it's going to be for you. So create a website that is about you. One thing that I recommend everyone doing, and I've told all my friends this, is to go and buy the domain name for your name. Even if you don't think you're going to start the website right now, I recommend doing that, because for me, I bought calvinraab.com back when was I? I think I was in 8th or 9th grade. It was a while ago, and I didn't even start the website until about 3 or 4 years later, but I recommend buying the domain name now. Just go and see if it's available, and if it is, it's not too expensive. I'd recommend buying it because you don't know when you're going to need it, and especially with the way that the world's kind of leading towards, you may want a website with your name later. So I recommend just doing that. But starting a website is something that I recommend doing. And you may think like, oh man, I don't have anything, what am I going to put on the website? I don't have anything to sell or anything like that. You have more than you think you do. Just have a little bit about your story. Maybe some of the projects that you've been working on. Have you moved businesses a couple times? Well, put different projects that you worked for. Have kind of your resume in a website form. I think of this as the modern resume. And one thing that I recommend a lot of people do is write blog posts. I know you guys have something that you want to share, different thoughts that you have. Write a blog post about it. And just write a couple of those. It shows that you're an insightful person, and it kind of, what your blog posts are about can be a defining element of your personal brand. So use this and enjoy that. Get a nice website. They're really cheap if you just use Wix or WordPress. There's tons of different ones out there for you. You can even use Square and just create a simple personal website that has a few things about you. I recommend writing a few blog posts to kind of set the scene and talk about and give a look at what this brand of yours is going to look like. And remember, you're not selling anything. You are selling yourself. That's what this is all about. Personal brand is about selling yourself and treating yourself like a business. So become a business, create a website that's dedicated to yourself. It's really cool if you can get your own domain name with your name in it. It just helps you look more professional, helps the brand look more professional. But then there's more to that. Remember, your whole self is now kind of a brand, so treat yourself like that. And in all different facets of your life, remember that you carry the brand with you because you are a personal brand. And you can do this, remember to do it on social media too. So always think over before you post something, think, all right, I am a business. How is this going to affect my brand? If you're out partying your brains out and that's what you put on your Instagram page, it's going to make your brand look pretty bad. And if you're being rude on social media, if you're making fun of people on Twitter, that's going to affect your brand because you are a personal brand. So in everything you do, remember that now. And it helps you kind of think what you post and think what you're going to say. And if you're very kind on social media, you post insightful and interesting pictures and everything like that, you can help your brand and it helps it even look better in a certain way. And when employers look at your social media, it will help your brand and kind of back up kind of just the quality of your brand. And the last thing is just make it even more official. Make some business cards for yourself, some personal business cards that have your website there and have your social media there because you now have this personal brand. You now want to show it off. You want to show people that you have this personal brand. And if someone takes your business card and has your social media on there, it has your website, you're going to look a lot more marketable. You're going to seem a lot more professional rather than someone that just talks about themselves, talks about their skills. If you have an actual website and things to back up yourself as a brand, you are going to be remembered and it's going to leave a good look on you because you seem a lot more official. And the cool thing about all of this is none of it is hard necessarily, I'm not asking you to go and start a whole business. All I'm asking is just to put up a simple website, write out some thoughtful blog posts, get some business cards, which you can do like Vistaprint, that's really, really cheap, and you can set up your brand pretty easily. And I think it's something that everyone should do because your return on investment for doing it may cost a little bit of money to get everything set up, but it isn't too expensive. Under $50, I'm sure you can do everything for, but your return on investment is you looking like a brand, you looking more professional. And in the world that we're moving into, the world of entrepreneurship, the world of someone who works from home, who works for themselves, which we're going to see a lot more of in the coming years, this is setting the stage and helping you succeed in that future economic world that we're going to live in. So as far as what you should do right now, what I would recommend doing right now is after you're done with this video, first of all, give it a like, and if you haven't, subscribed. But after you do those two things, go and check to see if the domain name for your name is open. And if it is, I'd recommend buying it. You can buy it with GoDaddy, and it isn't that expensive. I'd buy it because you never know when you're going to want it, when you're going to use it. But then I'd recommend getting a little more serious, creating a website, some simple blog posts, maybe in a video like this one. This is how I like to express myself, and this is part of my brand. And just treat yourself like a brand. It's going to make you a whole lot more marketable. All right, so that will wrap it up. I hope you got something out of that because this is something that I find very fascinating, I think it's something that will be a much bigger deal in the coming years, and if you can get a jump on it now, you can kind of get a head start ahead of everyone else. So this is something that I'm passionate about. If you guys have any questions about this, I spent a semester studying this. I know that doesn't seem like much, but I spent a lot of time studying this. I'm very passionate about it, especially the reputation economy in general. So if something didn't make sense or you have any questions or concerns, or maybe you disagree with me on something, that's great. I love that. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to talk with you guys because this is an important topic for me, for you, and really for everyone. So let me know down there. But if you're new here, my name is Calvin Raab, and here I make videos all about personal finance. So if you're interested in anything like that, I would love it if you would subscribe. So hello to my new subscribers and my older subscribers. It's always good to see you. I look forward to talking to you guys in the comments below. But for now, that will wrap it up. And as always, my name is Calvin Raab, and I'll see you soon. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. So I'm going to move to the corner of your screen here. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you are going to see my most recent video. And if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you're going to see a video that YouTube and I each think that you would like. And if you haven't yet, you can hit my face right here and subscribe. As always, my name is Calvin Raab, and I'll see you soon.